Hi there guys, in this video I want to talk about the recent problem I've had with my EVGA power supply. I bought a SuperNova P2 1200 watt back in June 2016. Everything was going fine with it until Thursday the 14th of March 2019, where I went to switch the PC on and it seemed to be power cycling. The PC would power up for a few seconds and then it would shut down, and then it would try again, and it kept on doing this over and over. So I knew something wasn't right with it, so I switched it all off and started to work out what the problem was. The only way of doing this was starting to take things out, like the graphics card, take the memory down and so forth. After about an hour or two, I actually found out it was the power supply that was causing the problem. So I switched it for an older 650 watt power supply that I had hanging about. Obviously it wasn't ideal, but it done the job for the time being. So to make sure it was actually the power supply, I tried installing it in a second system. The second system is a bit more power hungry because it has two graphics cards in there. It has pretty much the same power supply, it's not identical to it, so it was pretty easy to swap it over and all the same cables and so forth. However, this time nothing happened, and after closer examination of the power supply, all you could do is actually hear a little click noise when you went to press the power button. Nothing else actually wanted to know. I also took the power supply out and put it into the web server. That's what I've got here, test for a web server, and it didn't exactly the same. And then finally I tried it back in my original system and still nothing. So after all my testing, it looked like the power supply was completely dead, which I found very strange, especially regarding its age. So the next step was to contact EVGA about this. I first did this on Twitter and they told me to email. I wrote an email and then they come back a few days later telling me I should use their support site. It's a little bit of a shame they just didn't tell me straight away to use their support site instead of doing the email and then getting the sort of run around a little bit. But anyway, after going through the support site and telling them all what's had happened, they told me pretty much it was an RMA, and they gave me all the details and said basically this is what you had to do. So we read through all their instructions and boxed the power supply up as best we could. It was a UK address, so that was definitely not too bad. We took it down to the post office on Tuesday the 19th and paid for 2-day delivery. We didn't see the point of buying next day delivery because it wasn't that urgent. However, we did get it postal insurance on it in case it went missing. So we believe they got it around on the 21st, which was about the Thursday. So a day later, on the 22nd, I got an email from EVGA to say they have shipped your RMA. Now this was probably the only minor thing I can say about the whole RMA process. The email didn't really tell me what had happened. Was they sending me a replacement or simply returning the unit? What happened to the RMA? Did they find a fault with the power supply or anything? So shortly afterwards, on the same day, I got another email from UPS this time telling me a parcel was on its way. A little bit later on, about half an hour later, it told me that the parcel was in Germany. So I wasn't too sure what was going on. I didn't think my unit could have got to Germany that quickly. So all I could do at this point is wait until Tuesday when the parcel was estimated to arrive from EVGA. So I wasn't too sure what to expect now. I didn't know if I was going to get my old unit back or a replacement, maybe even a completely new unit. So I was kind of thinking it would be a replacement, to be honest. I didn't think it was going to be a brand new unit. So I opened the box up and found another power supply in it. I checked it closely and it looked in very good condition. I was quite surprised. It was such good condition I wasn't too sure if it was an RMA or actually a brand new one. However, when I examined it really closely, I did notice a few very minor signs that it may be an RMA model. However, it was definitely in a lot better condition than my old unit. My old unit had a bit of dust in it as it was a few years old. So anyway, I was very happy with the condition of the unit. Before I actually put it in, I thought I'd try it outside the case just to make sure this power supply works okay. So you can see I kind of jerry-rigged it up and it seemed to be working absolutely fine. I did notice that the eco mode is pretty noisy when it's off. I think that might be just the trait of this type of power supply. However, the power supply is such overkill that you can run it on eco mode and you basically don't need to spin the fan, so it is very, very quiet. This is the old 650 I was using as a temporary kind of power supply. It is quite messy in some respects because it's non-modular and there's a lot of cables there you don't actually need. But all in all, this seems to be working absolutely fine, so it was time to put it back into the case. So a little bit later on, I got the power supply installed in the system properly and got the cables rerouted in. Not that this is the cleanest cabling ever, it's just that I wanted to show you it actually installed. I do find it quite difficult to get the graphics card cables installed because they tend to be quite big and they're not particularly easy to reroute, especially with their positioning. Anyway guys, I wanted to create this video to explain what had happened, to say thanks to EVGA and let you guys know about EVGA's RMA process. Usually you only get to know how good a company is by its after sales support, and I'm very glad this was all sorted very quickly. So anyway, if you've had experience with any RMAs, I'll be very interested to hear. I do think that's kind of it for this video. If you did like the video, please drop us a like or consider subscribing to the channel. Anyway guys, take care and have fun out there.